Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Scaly where you guys learn how to make a game in Godot. So in today's episode, we're going to be working on this cool little parallaxing that you see going on in the background. We're going to start figuring out how to use singletons so that we can have persistent gold no matter what scene we're in. And this is going to help build our foundation so that we can start working on the combat. If you guys haven't seen the previous episodes, I definitely recommend you guys to start from episode 1. Just so that you can follow along. Alright, so let's get to parallaxing. If my screen looks a little different from your guys's, don't worry about it. The only reason for that is because I zoomed in the editor so that you guys can see my screen a little bit easier. Nothing else about the settings has changed. So what we want to do is, let's hide all of this for now, and let me show you what the sky looks like. So the sky is this one singular piece right now, right? But to make a parallax look pretty cool, you want to have different layers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to split up the sky into two different pieces. So we're going to go to our assets folder, and then we're going to bring in the clouds in the sky. And so let's go to the title screen, and let's throw it into here. Okay, so now when we look at it, the clouds disappeared, right? Which is fine. So let's go to our title screen, make sure you select it, Control A, and let's do a texture rect, and let's call this clouds. Let's bring it up, and then let's throw the title screen clouds into this right here, and it should land into place. And let's save that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do something that we've never done before. We're going to use the parallax node. So click on the title screen, Control A to create a new node, and then we're going to look for parallax. And so there's two different ones you can use. Like before, we never want to use a node that's deprecated, so always use the one that isn't, that is still being worked on, which is Parallax 2D. Let's create that. And then I'm going to bring it up. And first and foremost, let's work on the clouds. So let's put this into our Parallax 2D. And I'm going to call this Parallax Clouds. Oh, Parallax Clouds. Let's go into the repeat. We know that the screen size is 320, right? So let's do repeat size of 320. Eh? Yes. And the reason this is weird is because it should be above the clouds, the sky, sorry. So when we have a repeat size of 320, it basically repeats 320 pixels over. And so in our case, it's basically one full screen length that will be repeated. And if we run this, will this do anything? No. And the reason for that is because we don't have an auto scroll that's on. So let's say we want to scroll it in X. So let's do maybe 5 pixels. Save that and let's run it. Look at that, guys. So it's scrolling in the positive X direction 5 pixels a second. And another thing we can do is when you do parallaxing, you want to create layers, right? So this might be the very first layer. This is the layer that's closest to the viewer. So it probably moves fast. But we also have this background that we split called sky. And we can have the sky also move on its own parallax layer. So now let's go right here to title screen, Control A to create a new Parallax 2D. Hit create. And let's bring it up and throw sky into the Parallax 2D. And let's rename this first. Sky. Okay, and so right here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to repeat, and the repeat size is going to be 320 in the X, like this. Okay, and then for the auto scrolling, let's do maybe like 3 pixels or so. Okay, so now let's save that, and let's play. So what you're going to see is, it's pretty cool, right? The clouds are moving faster than the background, and you can play around with the numbers. It's probably going to look the best when the clouds move faster than the background, just to give you the proper perception for distance. And let's look at it with everything. Oh. So now we have our title screen, save that, and we run it. And now everything's kind of moving, right? It's a nice little touch. Okay, so now let's work on this button right here. It's a little basic looking, so let's update that. I think polishing is a very fun part of game development. It's the part where you really feel like things are changing, things are improving. So as you're working, you're going to have days where you do a lot of content, a lot of development, and then you're going to always have to bring it back and work on the polish to make your assets look nicer, to update buttons, to create parallax layers, you know. Okay, so let's go back to our asset folder and let's go to title screen UI and let's throw this in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to this button start. And the nice thing about this button is, here, let's take a look at just the button node real quick. You guys don't have to do this step. Let me just show you something. The button inherits from the space button, right? But so does the texture button, which we want to use here. And so even if you change the type from this to this, it actually still retains a lot of its function. So right here, instead of creating a new texture button, we're going to do right click, change type, and we're going to set it to a texture button. And you're going to notice that the connections, the signals that you have previously aren't going to break. So we change it. And so this icon changed, and you can see that it's a type texture button. Also, there's a visual confirmation that this disappeared. And now what we have to do is we have to fill in the textures. So let's do this right here. And let's create a Atlas texture. And I found out that you click right here too. So you can click Atlas texture right here. Okay, so let's throw in the title screen UI. And then let's go edit region. And let's grab the first one. And so what we're going to do is, because the second one has a 1 pixel border, we're going to give it 1 pixel border, just like this. Close. And then let's shrink this to size. Minimize that. We're going to click right here, expand that, throw this in right here. Edit region. And then this one, we're going to go exactly over the outline. Just like this. Hit close. Minimize that. And then the final one, we're going to throw this title screen UI in as well. Edit region. And we're going to give this a 1 pixel border. Sweet. Okay, so now you can position it somewhere that looks good for you guys. I think maybe like right here is good for me. I'm doing that with my arrow keys. And then I'm going to hit run current scene. And then it's going to throw an error, right? And so let's look at this. Trying to assign value of type texture button to a variable of type button. And so what happened here? We have this script inside our title screen, right? It's this one. And we made this node reference, and this button start that we connected is a type button, but we changed the type to a texture button. So we need to update this to texture button. Save that, and now we can run it. Okay, so let's take a look at this error before we run it. The property text is not present on the infer type texture button. That's true. If we click the button start, you're going to notice there's no property for text. So what we have right here, we don't need this anymore. Okay. It's been a while. We don't know exactly what this changes. So how about we just go ahead and just toggle comment. We're not deleting it. We're just seeing what happens when we remove it from our script. So toggle comment right here. And then that's going to make the ready function run an error because nothing is happening here. So we need to do pass. Okay, so now all the errors are gone. We save it. And we always want to clear out all the errors before we run the game. So now we can run it again. And we're not going to notice any errors popping up, right? And our button, oops, we got it wrong right here. So when it's pressed, I want it to be hover. So I'm just going to click and drag and just move it into place like this. And then I'm going to hit reset. Save that and let's run it again. And so now when we hover over it, it highlights. When we click it, it grows dark. And then the clouds are moving in the back. Very, very cool. Okay, So we noticed that our comments didn't affect our game, right? So only once we confirm this, now we can delete. Now we can delete this. You always want to be careful when you make changes to your script, because if you move too fast, then you might break the game. Okay, so save that. And let's run it from the start again. And just admire our work for just 1 second. Wow, this was us. Alright, let's add some gold to our exploring now. So let's go to our explore screen, hit 2D, just to take a look at what's going on. And I think we're going to make it really simple at the beginning. So maybe we'll just create a new label right here, or maybe right here, just saying gold. And we'll just start with that for now. So let's go to our script. No, let's go to the top right here, select that, Control A, and do label. And then we're going to call this label gold. And I'm pressing Alt, left clicking, bringing it down right here. And then I'm going to type inside here, I'm just going to go gold, :XX. Okay. And then let's adjust this a little bit. So under here, we're going to go straight down to theme overrides. We're going to go to font size, and we're going to do maybe like 6. Maybe let's do 10. Okay, I think that's good. And let's just check it out real quick. Run the scene, and I think it's fine. Let's go to the script now, and let's take a look at this. So first and foremost, let's create a gold variable gold. And it's going to be type int for integer, and we're going to set it to 0. And actually, let's run the setter right away. So set value, and then we're going to do gold equals value. So it doesn't do anything by itself. It's just setting it to the value that we change it to. Okay, and then let's go look at the node connections that we have, and let's connect the gold label. That was, you have to select it with Control, left click, and drag. So right here, we're going to do, we don't have the function yet. So let's write the function. Let's call this function update gold label, returns void. And we're going to do label gold dot text equals gold : space plus string gold, like this. And then we're going to take this function and we're going to paste right into here. So now whenever we update the gold, it's going to update the label. So let's comment this. Update gold label. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we might as well do this. Update HP label. Update floor, tower floor progress. Okay. And now let's bring this up. I'm going to do Control X, and I'm going to move it right here. Okay. Save that. And let's take a look. We want to give ourselves gold. So let's do something like this. For exploration reward, gold reward. Okay, and we're going to do a new type today. It's going to be type array. And so arrays are basically containers. They hold multiple things, basically. You can specify what you put in, but you can also not specify it. So if I go array int, like this, then I can only put numbers in here. But we denote the array by using these square brackets. So this is initializing an empty array. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to give it a range, basically. So minimum, we're going to get 0 gold. And maximum, say we're going to get 5 gold. I think that's a nice little working range that we can use. We're going to comment this. Exploration gold reward range. So we're going to get from 0 to 5. Okay, so let's try getting some gold. Just like when we progress the floor, when we hit the explore button, and just how we lose HP when we explore, we're going to gain gold. So let's do something like this. Instead of doing a static value of just 1 or just like 5 or something, we're going to do something different. We're going to use a new function that's called range. And we're going to use range I, there's two types, range I or range F. Well, rand F, rand I. But the difference is one of them is an integer and the other one is a float. And we want to use the integer one. And so I'm sure you guys know, but if you don't know, the difference between an integer is a whole number like this, versus a float, which is a floating point number like this. Basically a decimal versus no decimal. So we're going to use rand I range, right? And it's going to generate one number between some number that you specify. So we're going to do exploration gold reward. And okay, let's take a look at this actually. Let's comment this out. And let's do this. Print exploration gold reward. Let's see what happens right here, okay? We save this and let's run it. So when we hit explore, we're going to get this printed out. This is exploration gold reward, right? 0 to 5. So then how do we access these numbers right here? We're going to do something like this. Print exploration gold reward, and then we're going to use square brackets. And we have to choose what index we're going to use. So if I do bracket 0, it's going to be the first position right here. And if I use bracket 1, it's going to be the second one right here. So let's print this, and let's also print 1 and see what happens. We run that again, and we hit this. We're going to get 0, and we're going to get 5. So this is how you access what's inside your array. So now let's use this with rand I. So let's first kill this right here. Whoops. Go back to script, and then uncomment this. And let's go exploration gold reward 0 as our first. And we're going to use exploration gold reward 1 as our second, like this. And let's print this to see what happens. So I'm going to delete this. This is a little unfortunate. We can ignore this error for now, so no worries. Let's run this, and let's see what happens. 4, 2, 4, 0, 2. So as you can see, it randoms between 1 to 5, 0 to 5, just like that. Okay, so it seems like it's working. And so what do we do from here? Well, let's make this legit, right? So let's remove the print. And then let's do this. Let's do gold plus equals, and then this right here. Okay, and it's still giving us an error. So this is one of the warnings that we turned on way back in episode 1. And so the reason Godot isn't liking this is because it doesn't know what this is, what this variable is. And what rand I range, this method requires, is you can see it says from, and it has to be a type integer, and then the second one has to be a type integer as well. So what we have to do is we have to go something like this. Var gold min, and just set it. Give it a specific type like this, and then we're going to put this right here. And we're also going to do var gold max equals this. And so what we're going to use instead is going to be gold min and gold max. Okay, so now we can save this like this. The errors have all disappeared, and so when we run this, the current scene, we're going to see the gold increment bit by bit. Let's actually show that though. What happened to my screen right here? I don't understand why it's not going back to the script. Okay, let's also print. Yeah, so we're going to use another variable, gold gained. It's going to be type int, Now we're going to set it to this. And we're going to use this gold gained right here. And we're also going to print it so that we can see what we're actually gaining. Okay, so now when we run this, when we explore, we gain 5 gold right here. We gain 0 gold. We gain 2. We gained 1. And we're dead. But when we enter back into the scene, we lose all our gold again. Right? Right, we do. So we've got a couple bugs. Let's first make sure that the gold label updates right away. Let's start with that. So what we want to do is we want to do update gold label, this one right here. And let's run this at the very start as well. Okay, so now when we do this, we're gonna start at 0 gold. And when we explore, we're gonna gain gold. And when we die, and when we come back, we need to fix the gold not being static. Alright guys, so now we're gonna create something new that we've never done before. It's called a singleton. And so you guys saw how this variable right here, this variable gold, it basically resets back to 0 whenever we run this scene. No matter what we do, it's always going to be set to 0. So how do we have variables that exist outside of the scene that hold true for no matter where you are? And that is a singleton. To create a singleton, you have to go to Project on the top left, and then you do Project Settings, and then you're going to go to Globals. And this is where you create your singleton. But first, we have to actually create the base for it. So we're going to go and we're going to create a new folder. It's going to be here under res. We're going to do create new folder. And I'm going to do singleton. And then I'm going to set this folder color to yellow, or you can choose what you want. And I'm going to right click right here, create new script. And I'm going to call this data.gd. Create that. Let's open it up. It extends node, which is good. And I'm going to save it. Now we're going to go back to project settings, look into global, and then we're going to find the script that we created inside Singleton, select data, open, and it's going to fill in this name right here with data. And we're going to hit add. And so now we've created our singleton successfully, and how we reference it is by using data right here. So now that we've created the singleton, we can create variables in here. So like say we just create variables, right? And let's actually use gold, just like before, right? Variable gold, and then we're going to do type int, and we're going to set it to 0, okay? Save that, and then we're going to go back to our explore screen, and we're going to, let's toggle comment this. And when we do that, it's going to give us an error. So let's click this and see where we have an error. And we have this error right here because it can't find gold anymore. But we do have gold inside data, but how do we call this? So let's use data.gold. Basically, we have to specify what singleton we're calling it from, and then we can specify our variable. So that's all you have to do. If you forget what your singleton is called, it's usually just this with a capital for the first letter. And if you really forget, you can check your project settings, and this is how you reference it. Okay, so data.gold plus equals gold gained, which is going to be good. And now label gold text, we're using this old gold right here, right? But we should be using the new one that references data, our singleton. So we're going to do this. Now save that, and let's run the scene. And now we start at 0, which is good. Okay, so that's interesting. We're getting our gold, but remember how we removed our setter in our original gold variable, right? So now nothing is calling the function for us to update this label, even though we're changing the value. So now let's do something. How do I fix this? Embedding options. I'm gonna hit this. Let's just try. Okay, I don't know if that fixed it. Whatever. Okay, so let's go to data and let's create the setter inside here. Set value, and we're gonna do gold equals value, right? So this part of it makes sense, but how do we link what's happening here to what's happening here? You can't just call this function. If you try to copy this function and post it into here, you're going to get an error because this doesn't exist inside the script. And also you can't really connect to it by doing like, you can't throw this node connection in here, you know? So like say you can't do this. This will also be incorrect. This doesn't exist right here. So let's first comment this and let me show you what it actually looks like. When we run it, you're gonna get an error right away, right? And this error is it doesn't find this label gold, because let me show you what it looks like. Inside remote, we can see that data exists right here and our actual label gold exists right here. And you can't, this is referencing from this explore screen location. So you can't just throw something in here and then expect this to work by using like label gold like this. This doesn't work. So let's delete this and let's delete this. And what we have to use is a signal. And so signals are basically things you send out. You can emit it and then you can also connect it when you receive it. And so this is how you do a lot of your communications inside the game. So let's say signal gold changed, right? This is our signal. And then when our gold value changes inside our singleton, we're going to we're going to copy this, paste it right here, gold changed dot emit. And so we're going to emit this signal. And now on the explore screen, we have to receive the signal. So on the explore screen, we're going to receive the signal right inside ready. So let's do this. Let's do data. Because it's a singleton, we can connect anything that's inside data. And so this also includes signals, such as gold changed. And you can see that it has a signal icon right here. Gold changed dot connect. And now we're going to connect it to update gold label. And when you connect a signal to a method, you don't have to use the parentheses brackets. You can just take the text like this, paste it right here. And so now when we run the scene, basically this is going to connect the signal from data, gold changed, and it's going to connect it to update gold label. So let's save that and let's run it. Boom. Cool. So we had 14 gold and we still have 14 gold when we enter again. And that's it for today. I feel like Skelly is moving at a snail's pace, but that is the nature of going over every little bit of detail and making sure to keep it nice and easy for you guys. Hopefully you guys found it informative. Please keep looking forward to the next videos. I hope to share a lot more of this with you guys. And if you enjoyed it, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.